Happy VA Wednesday. So today I'm going to be talking about my pre-approval process. So if you're a veteran thinking about getting a mortgage and you're like, you know, Jen, I do want to work with you. This is how I do the whole thing. And here's what you need to know. First of all, I'm licensed in 48 states, so I can help you everywhere but Utah and Rhode Island. Second, yeah, you're going to be working with me. It's going to be me and another team member. That may be Jen Anderson, who many people know and love. It may be Samantha. It may be Sandy or Linda. Every single person on my team is passionate. They know their guides. They do not mess around. They don't just clock in and out. My team is put together to make a difference. Our goal with VA is to make VA as competitive as every other type of offer, so that the nonsense of people being like, oh, well, VA takes forever, or VA this or VA that, we want that to disappear. They want to be part of that change, and that's what we're up to do. Okay, so my phone number, because I know some of you watch me on TV, is 707-478-0637. Now look, there's two ways to start the pre-approval process. Sometimes people have questions. We're totally fine with that. You know, feel free to call me, text me, get on the calendar. We have a calendar. You can book time whenever you want. Like, there's a lot of availability because literally I've got Alyssa, Sandy, and Linda set up to take those calls all day, all day. So please, any questions, make sure you're reaching out, because, you know, there's a lot of lenders that are like, we'll fill out an app. We'll fill out an app. We'll fill out an app. But sometimes that's not the right answer, you know? Look, to figure out debt to income and do a true pre-approval, yes, I need an application. But if you're trying to figure out if your employment's gonna work to get pre-approved, or, you know, if something makes sense, that doesn't necessarily need to be an application, and we're happy to answer those questions. Okay, so let's say that you're like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. Okay, so you'd fill out my application, which is at zerostressmortgage.com. That's all spelled out. That will take you right to my guaranteed rate, which is a mortgage company I work for. We're one of the largest mortgage companies in America. It'll take you straight to my secure application. Very important. Like, I can't stress it enough. Security is something that my company is obsessed with, and we are not playing with it. So you fill out the app. It's really easy. Really easy. It takes most people about 10 to 15 minutes. Now, a couple notes. Number one, if you're the spouse of a veteran, make sure you're listing the veteran first. If you're both veterans, and let's say that you're married and one gets VA disability and one doesn't, I would probably list the veteran with VA disability first, okay? We can always change all of this around. So if you're like, oh shoot, I just did it with myself first, not my husband or my wife, and they're the veteran, don't worry, we can fix it. I just say put the veteran first, whose entitlement you're hoping to use, because we have a bot that when you fill out the application, it automatically tries to pull your certificate of eligibility. 99% of the time, our bot can pull it. In some circumstances, we will need your DD-214 or a statement of service, and my processors will reach out to VA to get your certificate of eligibility. But most of the time, the bot can do it. Okay, so you fill out the application. Great. Now wait, sometimes people go, oh gosh, I don't have all my pay stubs in front of me. I don't have this, I don't have that. Doesn't have to be perfect. I am going to verify every single thing on that application. You know, my team is going to verify every single thing on that application multiple times. We are not one of those lenders where it's like you fill out an online application and you never hear from them again. You know, there's a lot of lenders that are like, oh, well, you'll never have to talk to a person. Just fill out the application, instant pre-approval. All of that is garbage. We're going to be verifying everything, because the bottom line is this: to close your loan, an underwriter is going to need all that proof. So we would rather make sure everything's good before you go shopping, rather than have you go shopping and everything, you know, implodes. Not a good thing. So you fill out the application. I love it if you text me after you fill it out. 707-478-0637. Just say your name, that you filled out the app. I like that just so I can alert the team. And the reason is that maybe 1 out of 100 might end up with the guaranteed rate online division, which is not my team. So I want to make sure that any application, any buyer that wants to work with me and my team, you're working with us, right? I don't want you going somewhere else. So I alert the team. Now, look, I have multiple people that work on multiple time zones, because in 48 states, we got to be everywhere. So your application comes in, Jolene and Missy generally are going to start cleaning it, okay? When Jolene and Missy start cleaning it up, they may ask for some documents, they may reach out with some questions. You may also have Linda or Sandy that reach out directly as well, okay? And we always have a meet the team that goes out as soon as you fill out that application, so you should never be like, wait, who is this person? And here's the thing, if you're like, wait, who is this person? Once again, 707-478-0637. I will respond. I do respond. Texting's totally fine. So they ask questions. Now, the next thing is you're going to be talking with Jen or Sam or Sandy or Linda, and they're going to be going through the application with you, making sure that everything's correct, but also seeing like what payment are you comfortable, you know. The thing with a pre-approval, which is tricky, is we don't max qualify. So what that means is sometimes you fill out a loan application and the lender just pushes it to however high they can get through the system. You don't want that. That is the path to poverty, my friend. So the way that I qualify is either by what you put in the system or by the payment that you're comfortable with. But for instance, let's say you put in 300. Generally, my team, if they're looking at everything and it's looking good, they're going to be like, hey, do you want us just to do 350 in case? And the reason we do that is because we do a fully underwritten pre-approval, meaning that a real underwriter's looking at your loan, you know, it makes your offer the strongest it can be. So we want to try to have what we get you pre-approved at higher than ultimately what you do in a perfect world. And if you're like, Jen, I didn't do that. Guys, I can play with it, okay? I'm just saying, like, perfect world, you know, we're doing a little padding over where you want to be just so you have that flexibility. Okay, so we're gonna verify the application over the phone. We like to do that because no matter how good the digital app is, it's not always accurate. And there's nuances to information. You know, sometimes I'll be on the phone with someone and I'll be like, oh, you know, it says you've been working at XYZ for 10 years. I see that you get commission. And I'll be like, you know, have you been getting commission for 2 years? And they'll be like, no, I've only been getting it for 2 months. I can't use it. Right? There's all these rules with income that are sticky. So going through that application sometimes can alert us so that we're structuring your file properly from day one. That is really what a lender does. We structure your file. And sometimes people are like, oh, well, it can't be that. Guys, it's not an issue of that hard or that easy. It's an issue of, does the lender actually know how to do it? And look, we know how to structure VA loans. I wouldn't be the #1 VA loan officer in America if we weren't structuring correctly, right? You got to close a lot of loans. So structuring is really important. It's why we like to do those calls. Once you have that call, it goes to processing. It's either going to go to Chadwick or Maria. Love them. Chadwick, we call Mr. Cool. He's very relaxed. He's lovely. You know, Maria, I love her. She's so sweet, but we always joke, you know, she's a Marine's daughter and she thinks she's a Marine by birth. So she's very direct. She's going to ask you for what she wants. And, you know, look, they're both really good and they're both really quick. You just have to understand that they're very direct, as they should be. Like, I don't know. I don't need someone sugarcoating me, asking for docs, being like, dearest Jennifer, it is a fall winter day. We would love, like, none of us need that. So this is what we need to get it to underwriting so the underwriter approve it so you can go shopping and know that when you put that offer in, you're bulletproof. So the processors are going to request documents. Now, this is where sometimes I'll hear, well, XYZ lender didn't ask for that. Yeah, they're not fully underwriting you. I mean, look, there's a lot of lenders that do, excuse my French, but a half-assed job, and that doesn't benefit you in any way, shape, or form. It doesn't cost you money to be fully underwritten and have the strongest pre-approval letter, but also have the zero stress experience, knowing that when you're writing an offer, it will actually close. Right? And that's the thing. People go, well, like, loans don't close sometimes, guys. Like, I've heard the stupidest stories recently. Like, there was a lender that wasn't pulling credit reports. I'm not kidding. They weren't pulling credit reports until right before closing, because when you pull a hard credit report, other lenders call because the bureaus sell your info. True story, messed up. And they didn't want to lose the clients. So they had people getting declined at the end. Anyways, you never know what you're dealing with, right? So the processors are going to get all your information. We are going to make sure that every T is crossed and every I is dotted. Once they have your information, it goes to underwriting. The underwriter's job is to review all the information, make sure it matches up, make sure it meets guidelines. If they have questions, it's at that point they're going to ask them. And I love doing that before you're in contract because there's no pressure, right, on you. Once you're in contract to buy a house, you've got money on the line, you've got dates, you've got a real estate agent saying, hey, we got to do this. Hey, we got to get the home inspection. That's not the time for questions. You want all the questions dealt with and handled so that when you're in contract, meaning you're buying that house, you're not stressing about the loan. You can deal with the inspections, you can deal with the real estate agent because you know this part's good. That's what we do. So your file gets fully underwritten, fantastic. At that point, Dee Dee on my team reaches out. Dee Dee is the sweetest angel ever. I know it sounds ridiculous the way I describe people, but it's true. Like you guys will see this, like check out the reviews on Google. I don't know how I've been so lucky to have so many amazing people, but I think it's because we have a common mission to make a difference. Dee Dee is a sweetheart, so she'll call you and try to get you on my schedule. I like to talk to everyone, and I like to spend, it depends on what you guys want, but generally it's about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. Sometimes it pushes longer, but we're talking about, what you're thinking about, what your dreams are, what payments are going to be, what to expect with closing costs, what do you need to negotiate for? Do you have a real estate agent? How is that going? We dig into everything. What type of houses are you looking at? Do I see any red flags? Is there anything I need to warn you about? It's your time with me, one-on-one, uninterrupted, where you can ask me whatever you want, but also where I can talk to you and ask questions where you may not know, like it's something that should be asked or it's something that should be thought about, because this may be your first time, it may be your fifth time, but it's a different perspective, right? Like I see hundreds and hundreds of loans, hundreds of houses a year. I also see stuff get weird sometimes. So it's like, I'm always trying to make sure that as a buyer, ultimately you're happy, because that's my goal. I'm not just here to close a loan and say goodbye. I want you to be happy. So we do that. If you need help with a real estate agent, I have Wendy on my team. Wendy's great. So full disclosure, Wendy reads my email. Yes, she does. And it's because I never not want to respond to someone. I want to make sure everything's being dealt with. So often my email is getting, directed to whatever team member can respond the quickest. But Wendy also is our realtor concierge. So what she does is, let's say you're looking in town XYZ, you're like, hey, this is what I'm hoping for. She goes through all the data that we can pull on real estate agents to see how many deals they're closing. She reads their reviews. She reaches out to them and has a mini interview. Then Dee Dee reaches out. It's a whole process, guys. And sometimes people are like, Jen, there's so much process to all of this. Cut it down, cut it down. No. And I'm going to tell you why. Here's why. Do I need to pay a Wendy to look for a real estate agent for you? No, most people do not have a Wendy in a million years. But what I found over the years is that I had clients that were working with really crappy real estate agents, and it either made it so the client never bought a house, or the client had a miserable time, or I had a miserable time, and the client had a miserable time. Because that's the thing, an agent that has no idea what they're doing is like a spreader of disease. Like, it's not fun. So from my perspective, I would much rather have you with an expert, someone who's going to guide you, someone who cares that you're happy too, because that's going to ultimately make your whole experience better. And in a totally being selfish, it makes my team's life better too. We like working with experts. We don't like working with problems. Yes, we work with new agents. We like new agents if they want to learn. We don't like new agents telling us what to do. We don't like agents where we look up how much business they do. They're trying to tell me how VA works and they've closed 2 deals in the last year. What? They don't know what they're talking about. And there's a lot of that in the industry. There's a lot of people that talk about stuff that they don't know, but they act like they're an expert. And that's a game that you don't have time for, and that's a game that I don't have time for. So if you need help, Wendy's more than happy to. We do not charge you. We do not take a referral fee from the real estate agent either. Very important. There are some companies in the VA space where they say, oh, work with our realtor, we'll give you $1,000. Well, that's because they're taking 35% of the realtor's commission in another company that they own. There's a lot of that in the industry. And it's like, you know, Zillow, if you use one of their preferred agents, they've got their hand in the cookie jar as well. We don't do that. The reason we don't do that is because if there's going to be a hand in the cookie jar, it needs to be yours, not ours. And in reality, you know, many agents they don't work as hard, right? If they have one agent where they're going to make their full commission versus another one where someone's taking a cut, who do you think they're going to focus on? And we want that to be you. Okay, so you've had your call with me. If you need help with an agent, Wendy's there. If you have an agent, but you're like, can you guys check? We're happy to. The reason why we have Dee Dee then put them on the calendar with myself or CJ is because we want to see if they get that far. I'm not kidding. We've had a couple times where, no joke, like we look up an agent, they've got good reviews, like they close a good amount of houses, Wendy likes them, Dee Dee calls them and they're either rude to her or they blow her off. And we're like, well, wait a second. If this is the courting phase, right? And you're treating us like this, how are you going to treat the client? Like, this isn't good. So what we have found is that the agents that survive to the second step, those are the strongest agents. Like, do you want to work with someone that just gives up that quick? I don't, and I don't think you should either, because buying a house right now, like, look, you need a persistent agent, you need someone on it, and you need an expert. So the key thing with the pre-approval with us is, yes, we do a fully underwritten pre-approval. Now, because I know I'm going to get some comments if I don't say this, and if I get these comments, you didn't watch the whole video, which, you know, I get it. I sit in a chair, like, I don't know what else I could do, juggle. Credit. So we do a soft pull when you do the online application. We do a hard pull pretty immediate right after that. Like, if it's looking like you're going to move ahead, we do the hard pull for two reasons. Soft pulls are not accurate when it comes to VA. In terms of like getting a desktop approval, which is one of the basic underwriting things you do up front. It's not our full underwrite, but like you can get a deny with a soft pull when you would get an approve with a hard pull. And look, I think there's a bunch of people getting declined across the country right now by lenders who don't know this, who are getting declines on soft pulls and just tossing it in the trash. So, you know, we do a hard pull. We do submit your file to underwriting. The hard pull, like, it's good for 120 days, very important. You know, it's worth it. It's something you want to do. And excuse me, I was thinking as I was saying that, it's actually good for 180 days, excuse me. So yes, we do pull credit. If you're like, well, I don't really want to buy for a year, guys, you shouldn't be doing the application. It's that simple. If you don't want to buy for a year, let's do one of our planning calls and let's stack it out. You want to be doing the application and getting approved if you're thinking you want to buy within the next 3 months. So I hope this video has been helpful. I know I went on a bit, but I wanted to make sure that you were really prepared, because here's the thing. Being fully underwritten makes it so you have a stronger offer, a much stronger offer. It also makes it so that you have less stress. And when you're buying a house, why would you want a weaker offer and stress? Ugh, let's not do that. Thanks for watching.